Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of my golf mini-series. Today we're going to cover the muscles that are used in the upper body for your golf swing. Welcome to Science-Based Fitness. My name's Adam. Thanks for checking us out. If you want to understand what muscles are being activated and what muscles are most utilized during your golf swing, then you came to the right place. What we're going to do today is a breakdown of our swing in all the phases, understand what upper body muscles are the most active, and at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a breakdown of a few exercises you can do to work those muscles. So let's get into it. Okay, so during this process of trying to identify the most active muscles during your golf swing, I realized that each phase was very different in its respect to the muscles that were active. So I constructed a little chart consisting of each of the 5 phases, and I listed the primary muscles that were active under each of their respective phases. Now, this is all based on EMG data from a meta-analysis that I found in the British Journal of Sports Medicine. It is linked in the description if you want more details on it. After plugging everything in, I came up with this. We can see each phase of the swing, the muscles being utilized, and the percentage of utilization. Now, this percentage is based on 100% and is based on a maximum contractility. I want to show how we can target each of these muscles and a few different exercises you can mix into your workouts. The first muscle I wanted to point out was the pectoral major. This muscle pops up in 4 out of the 5 phases and yields the highest percentage of activation. So this is going to be one muscle we're going to highlight and make sure we target. From here, I wanted to break the muscles down into groups. Now, I'm doing this because after looking at everything, I can see muscles that can be trained in similar movements. We are going to group the trap muscles and the levator scapulae together because both aid in scapular elevation. Rhomboids are grouped with the serratus anterior because one protracts and one retracts the scapula. And the subscapularis is grouped with the infraspinatus. These are 2 muscles of the rotator cuff, and we can be worked with various shoulder rotation exercises. Now, let's be clear, just because you don't see a muscle on this list doesn't mean you shouldn't train it. An optimal workout routine would encompass everything, but for those who are looking for more of a golf-specific training program, these muscles are much more crucial to incorporate. So let's break down a few exercises you can add to your current routine. I do want to throw a caution out there. If you are not healthy enough to work out, do not attempt these. If you are unsure, seek approval of your doctor. It's never a bad idea. Now, each of these exercises have multiple variations. The main goal is to get you to target the muscle on the list we mentioned. There are a few variations that I show, but there are a lot of different ways you can actually work these muscles. Now, the first exercise we're going to do is a chest press targeting our pectoralis major muscle, which we see is very active in most of our phases of the golf swing. My variation of this is on a seated cable machine here. I focus on a smooth, controlled motion. With all of these exercises, you shouldn't be as concerned with the weight you're lifting. I would rather have you focus on the smoothness and the control throughout the movement. If you had an overhead view of what this would look like, you would see that my arms are actually pressing on an inward angle. My elbows do not make a 90-degree angle. Drop the elbows down a bit and retract our shoulder blades and press. There's a lot of different variations, and these are a few. Start simple and progress your way to more challenging variations. The second exercise we're going to do here is a row. In the row, I have 2 variations. You'll see at the end I use a band as well. Now, this is going to target our rhomboid muscles. We want to retract our shoulder blades and pull the weight to our side about in line with our belly button. I want to post my opposite arm up for support. If all you have is a band, you can wrap it around something like a post. Just make sure whatever you wrap it to is fixed in place. Now, I personally like to stagger my feet like this. Therefore, I find I have a lot better base of support and am a lot more stable. This third movement here is called a push-up plus. This can be modified for all fitness levels. It looks a little funny at first, but this is going to target our serratus anterior muscle. So we're going to get into a plank position. If this is challenging for you, you can drop down to your knees. You want to protract your shoulders and then retract your shoulders. So you're trying to think of your scapula rounding around your shoulders and back together. Around your shoulders and back together. So what we're really trying to work is the control through our shoulder blades. You might have to watch yourself in a mirror to get this better. Even my own form is not perfect here, but if you practice this, you should be able to understand the control a little bit more. Our fourth movement is a shrug. Now, shrugs are probably the simplest movement on this list. It works our trap muscles and also our levator scapulae muscle. So this movement, like I said, is simple, but people always try to add a little extra. I'll show you what not to do at the end of this little movement here. But all we're gonna do, shrug my shoulders up, nice and controlled, and down. What we don't wanna see is right here. You can see how my arms are actually bending. We wanna avoid that. That just adds a little bit of extra movement in that we don't need. I'm combining to target our subscapularis and our infraspinatus. So the external rotation is going to be our first. Very simple with a band or cable, whichever you have access to. You can wrap the band around something solid, a post or some type of anchor point that's not going to move. What I like to do here is put a towel underneath my arm. It's a good cue to make sure that you're not going to lift your arm and start extending. This is just a rotational movement. Once when you start to extend, you'll notice that the towel falls out from underneath the arm. We want to try to avoid that. So this external rotation is just extending away from your body with the hand while keeping your elbow stationary to your side. The next exercise is an elevated internal rotation for the subscapularis. The subscapularis is a very important muscle for internal rotation of the humerus. Here we want to create a 90-degree angle between the bottom of our arm and our rib cage. Once when that 90-degree angle is created, we want to rotate that hand downward and back up. You can see from the video how I do this. It's not about the speed, it's all about control. Now, this movement, sometimes people do like to extend their arm, so we want to try to avoid any extension going forward. We're not turning this into a chest press. It's important to remember with all of these exercises, if something's painful, do not do it. There's always variations you can do, and if something's really bothering you, speak to your doctor. Okay, so now we've successfully targeted each of the muscles from our list. So if you are looking for a more specific 1-month-long golf training program that gives you step-by-step daily and weekly exercises, then check out my website. It is linked in the description, or send me an email directly. Hopefully you guys liked the video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments section, and hopefully this has helped you. And stay tuned for part 3 where we cover our lower body muscles. Click like, click subscribe, you know the routine, and we'll see you guys next time.